Hey again, Vegas. Nicole here, your local and trusted source for all things real estate. Today, I'm going to show you a super fun video full of great content about the number one question people are Googling. And that is today a good time to buy regarding the real estate market? And in order to answer that question, first, we're going to address your fears and why you're feeling so apprehensive about purchasing in a shifting market such as what we're in today. Let's dive right in. All right. We've all seen the headlines, and most people are speculating that we are headed for another housing crash. The first thing to understand about the media, guys, is that fear sells, which is why you should never rely on that information to be absolute. You are more likely to click or follow links screaming out your fears and concerns about the plummeting stock market, the war in Ukraine, rapid inflation, and interest rate increases, which makes you all assume the housing market is doomed, right? No way, people. This market is nothing like 2007. Every major banking industry and economy expert will tell you exactly why this market will not be a repeat of 2008 crash, backed up by actual data. But this video is not about that. It's to address your fears when the headlines aren't giving you the confidence you need. Let's discuss the myths behind purchasing a home in a shifting market. Number one, housing has never been so expensive. Well, it's funny you should say that because so is nearly everything else, such as cars, rent, education, groceries, travel, movies, postage, fuel. You get the point. But let's talk affordability for a moment. Did you know that housing affordability relative to income is not nearly the highest on record? Most people qualifying for a mortgage today are only spending about 30% of their income on their monthly mortgage compared to over 40% in the 80s. And while interest rates are higher than we have seen in the past decade, they are still historically low overall. And the best part is, if you purchase today, you're going to have the best rate available going forward if rates continue to rise, or you can refinance if they drop. Either way, interest rates should rarely be a deterrent to home purchasing. Number two, I want to wait for the market to bottom out. Waiting for prices to decline is one of the biggest traps you can fall into as a buyer. While you are sitting around waiting for a crash, the fact is the overall median home price isn't likely to drop much at all. Homes have increased at an average rate of 4 to 5% annually since the 60s. Sure, some homes are decreasing their prices to cater to the softening of buyer demand. However, buyers will eventually be forced to re-enter the housing market due to the fact that we have been underbuilding for the past 14 years and are currently in a national housing shortage. The National Association of Realtors estimates we are short by 6 million units total. Let's go back to the last graph for a moment. Are you worried about a looming recession? The gray areas represent past U.S. recessions. You can see that 2008 was the only time in the past century where we saw prices decrease more than 5% across the board. And let's talk about inflation for a second. It doesn't just affect your gas and groceries. Inflation also increases home prices. Housing increased more than inflation in every decade, even when interest rates were rising significantly, such as the 80s. Next, let's talk about timing. The reason it is near impossible to buy at the bottom of the market is because no one can predict where the actual bottom will be. Also consider this. It is difficult for most people to buy when prices are low due to outside circumstances. That is why prices are low. So the best time to buy is literally the moment you can afford it, not when prices hit the bottom. Number three, you can't find the right house. Well, if you're looking for the perfect house, you're right. There's something wrong with every home. Whether you rent, buy, or build, there's literally no such thing as the perfect home. Instead of wasting time and energy focusing on an unattainable dream home for your first shot out there, try instead to find the best option given your needs, timing, and budget constraints. You can always use the equity from that home to upgrade to your dream home in the future. And number four, it doesn't matter if I lease or buy. Well, you may be right, but only for a little while. Over your lifetime, you will buy at least one home, yours or your landlord's. This may be the single most impactful financial decision you make. Owning a home is a great way to build family wealth and financial security. For many families, homeownership serves as a form of forced savings. Every time you pay your mortgage, you're contributing to your net worth by increasing the equity you have in your home. Plus, did you know that data from the Federal Reserve says the net worth of a homeowner is actually 40 times greater than that of a renter? Owning a home also provides a sense of security. Housing security comes from the ability to decide when you want to move, what neighborhood you want to live in, and how much you want to pay. COVID-19 specifically emphasized the importance of a safe place to live, now work, and of course, make memories. When you have credit and savings and you plan to stay in place for at least 3 to 5 years, that's when you should look into purchasing. Each person should make the best decision given their unique circumstances, of course. So what makes today a good time to buy despite what the headlines read? First and foremost, no more bidding wars. Buyers have suffered through this dog-eat-dog market for over 2 years. Today, they could comfortably make an offer at list and solidly be considered. Also, no more having to waive home inspections. And the best, no more paying over appraised value. In most cases, what the bank values as the home worth is what the buyer can expect to secure the home for, as opposed to the past 2 years where buyers were having to come in over list price to compete with other offers and back it up by waiving the appraisal altogether. In some cases, buyers are even getting sellers to cover portions of their closing costs now, which they can use to buy down their interest rate or reduce overall closing expenses. And finally, were you a buyer pre-approved with a government-backed loan such as FHA and VA and getting spanked right out of the market the past 2 years? Now's your moment, guys. When sellers do not have multiple offers to choose from like they do in high-demand situations, they are more likely to accept any reasonable offer that hits their table regardless of the loan type. In conclusion, over the long run, the wealth resulting from long-term home ownership impacts generations. The stability created for families and communities who choose when to move and when to stay is irreplaceable. Certainly, saving a few $1,000s in the transaction is hardly worth the risk of ending up with the wrong home, or worse, no home altogether. One of the most profound quotes about real estate I've ever read states, "The best time to buy a home is always 5 years ago." Okay, so thanks for joining me. If you found this information useful and helpful, please, please, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and definitely follow me for more real estate insight. Nicole Sanzone with ERA Brokers Consolidated, wishing you all a great week. Bye-bye for now.